Just by touching a bronze basin with her hand, an endless stream of rice came pouring out. It was a legendary treasure basin that could conjure rice from thin air, and word spread so fast that people declared her a living goddess, while the third prince promised on the spot to make her his crown princess. But she knew her nightmare was about to begin. In her first life, the basin had fallen to her family, and she had been the first to discover it and become its master. She only wanted to feed her family, but the secret reached the third prince, who came with sweet words and promises. Trusting him, she drained her own life force to produce 1,000,000 dan of rice and helped him rise to power, only for him to turn his affections toward her younger sister the moment he took the throne. The shameless family forced her to keep producing rice until she had nothing left, and in a final act of despair, she buried them all alive under 10,000 dan. And the prince responded by putting an arrow through her. Heaven gave her another chance, and she was reborn to the day she had originally saved him. In her first life, she had climbed the mountain and rescued him out of kindness after he had been beaten by a mob for embezzling disaster relief grain. And that was where everything went wrong. This time, she picked up a stick and beat him unconscious instead, covered him with weeds, and went home pushing 2 baskets of wild vegetables as if nothing had happened. The moment she walked in, her stepsister confronted her, demanding to know why she hadn't saved the prince, and she realized instantly that her stepsister had also been reborn. Before she could press further, her stepsister ran outside, and sure enough, half an hour later, she dragged the prince home and used every last grain of rice in the house to revive him, swearing to their hesitant parents that by morning there would be more rice than they could ever need. The prince recovered and was collected by his guards that night, promising to return in 7 days to repay the kindness. The moment he left, a golden light descended on the courtyard, and her stepsister rushed the whole family outside to find the treasure basin in the grass. Having lived this once before, she had no intention of letting the opportunity slip away. She cut her finger, pressed her palm to the basin, and rice came flooding out. Her greedy parents collected over 1,000 jinn without stopping, but as the rice kept pouring, her stepsister suddenly felt a terrible itch on her scalp and pulled out a fistful of hair, quickly kneeling to cover it with her clothing. What she didn't know was that the basin consumed its master's vitality with every use, and her greed was already taking its toll. 7 days later, her stepsister gathered all the disaster victims in the city and produced rice from thin air before a massive crowd who wept with gratitude and called her a goddess. The prince watched in amazement. 3 years of disasters had left his father desperately searching for a solution, and if he could keep this woman by his side, the throne would practically fall into his hands. He knelt before her on the spot, begging her to save the people, and she agreed without hesitation, promising 100,000 dan within 7 days. He ran to tell the emperor while she began distributing rice in his name to build his reputation, but after 1,000 jinn, she suddenly collapsed. When she came to, she was told she had simply overexerted herself and just needed rest, and she believed it, deciding to take a few days off before continuing. What she didn't know was that the prince had already boasted to his father he could deliver 1,000,000 dan, and the emperor had promised to name him crown prince if he delivered. Meanwhile, the disaster victims, having eaten through their share, surrounded the mansion demanding more, and when her stepsister ordered the gates shut, the enraged mob rammed them open with a wooden beam.